A year ago, deep under the dust of a minor shaft near Luxor, a single carving stopped the brush of a junior epigrapher. It was not on any catalog sheet, not in any Rosetta of dynastics. Concentric rings, 3 wide, 2 narrow, encircled a small central isle, the very geometry Plato sketched when he spoke of Atlantis. To either side, the stylized ibis head of Thoth, raised like a compass needle pointing home across a drowned horizon. No dynasty claimed the motif. No textbook predicted it. Yet there it was, cut so clean the grooves still glittered as if the chisel had cooled yesterday. Imagine, for a moment, what that means. If a god of Egyptian ink carries the map of a sunken empire on his cloak, history is not linear. It is a braid crossing oceans of time. And if one thread surfaces now, what other strands twist beneath our ordinary calendars, tugging at the edge of your daily reality? Breathe. You are not here for trivia. You are here because some part of you has always suspected the boundaries were drawn in pencil, not in stone. Let the night air of the valley fold around your shoulders. Feel the hush before discovery thickening on your skin. The desert keeps its secrets for millennia, then hands them to whoever listens without flinching. A pulse stirs in the dark behind your sternum. You remember, though you cannot explain how, kneeling at a black basalt desk while waves boom overhead. A reed stylus in your grip dips into glowing green ink. Words that are not hieroglyphs unfurl across damp papyrus, curling like sea spray in moonlight. Write fast. A voice urges. The flood is coming. Salt wind lashes your cheek. Yet you keep writing until symbols float off the page like schools of silver fish. The tomb's dust returns, yet the taste of salt lingers on your tongue. Writing that swims beneath the skin of sand. Speak it silently, and the air hums, as though grains beneath your boots remember tides older than the Nile. You realize the carving near Luxor is not merely art. It is a pressure point. Touch it with awakened attention and a corridor of forgotten memory unlocks behind your eyes. What if Thoth was never born beside the Nile at all? What if he carried a drowned library in his beak, ferrying it shore to shore after continents cracked like clay? Scholars debate provenance. The stone suggests provenance is a mirage. Origins fold, civilizations overlap, and a single glyph can pull 2 epochs into the same breath. Listen. The desert wind is shifting, the hush turning granular, restless. Something beneath the valley is stirring to meet the question forming in your mind. Was the first Egyptian scribe in exile from Atlantis? And if so, what else lies encoded in walls we walk past every tourist season? You stand at the threshold of that answer. One step deeper and hieroglyphs may stop behaving like pictures and start behaving like mirrors. The humming grows. Sand skitters across the floor, outlining rings within rings at your feet. The very map you came to doubt. Your next breath will decide. Retreat to the safety of textbooks or follow the pulse into chambers where water once spoke through stone. Choose and the story continues. Sand muffles every footfall as you step beyond the threshold. The corridor narrows, ceiling sinking until torch flame licks soot onto plaster. Then the passage widens without warning, opening into a hidden hypostyle whose columns tilt like ship masts caught mid-capsize. Their capitals are carved with, of all things, waves. Egyptian lotus should bloom here, but instead stone undulates as if remembering an older ocean. A low vibration meets your ribs. Not sound, more like the heartbeat of the hall itself. Each pulse echoes twice, pause, twice, mimicking distant surf. You press a palm to a column and feel the cadence rise up bone. Carved between the wave bands, a single cartouche repeats. Thoth Netcher, Thoth arriving. No dynasty lists that title. Yet here it glows, turquoise pigment still trapped in grain, as if the god's name arrived yesterday on a salt wind. You close your eyes and the vibration becomes vision. Live memory. You stand atop a crystal tower jutting from midnight sea, air charged blue-white with ozone. The tower hums a chord deeper than thunder, and every note blooms concentric ripples across water until the horizon itself rings. Clouds arc overhead like slow gulls made of light. Beneath your bare feet, the tower's core flashes. Information, frequencies, a language of pulses. Far beyond, a coastline of shining terraces waits, but a fissure splits the sky, and something massive tilts toward water. The cord lowers, dirge deep, and the tower's light stutters. You raise an arm as if to steady the horizon, and wake with your hand still lifted in the tomb. The sky remembers the waves. You exhale the words. Columns answer. Dust slides from fluting, tiny avalanches whispering down stone. The pulse quickens, 223 now, like a signal adjusting for distance. You realize this hall isn't decorative. It is a resonant chamber tuned to that lost tower's frequency, a terrestrial echo of an Atlantean beacon. Above, ceiling stones part in a precise crack. A shaft no wider than your fist guides moonlight straight to the floor, marking a map. 3 rings, 2 canals, central aisle. Atlantis, projected in silver upon Egyptian dust. And at the center of the light, an ibis feather, impossible, fresh, lying weightless. You pick it up. It hums the same surf beat against your fingers. If Thoth carried such feathers, each one could be a tuning fork, aligning any landfall to the mother signal across the sea. Perhaps what scholars call hieroglyphic innovation was simply the local stone shivering into shape when that resonance touched it. Perhaps Egypt's first scribes found feathers, not inspiration. Moonlight fades. Some passing cloud erases the map. The hall falls dark, yet the feather in your hand still glows a faint marine blue, as though storing all the drowned sunrises of a vanished coast. A thought lands. If the feather sings here, it will sing louder nearer the source. The pulse is invitation, not relic. Somewhere deeper, a chamber waits where the rings are no longer carved but lived. Water circling crystal, memory circling time. And if Thoth indeed arrived from that circle, the next chamber may hold the proof carved in syntax older than earth. Sand drifts over the threshold you crossed. Retreat would mean clawing through a rising dune. The hall's heartbeat slides into your own until you cannot tell which drives the other. The feather tilts toward a dark doorway at the far wall, as though magnetized. Beyond that slit, air smells of minerals and distant rain, impossible beneath desert rock. You tighten your grip on the feather. The pulse steadies, 223, guiding you forward. Step across and the surf beat grows loud enough to drown every certainty you carried into Egypt. Step across and stone may remember water. Step across, and the smaragdine plates of legend might float within arm's reach, waiting for a hand that can read tides instead of ink. You swallow desert dryness, lift the torch, and choose. The doorway receives you like a tide gate. Behind, the hall seals itself in hush. Ahead, the pulse rolls on deeper, brighter, promising the next revelation. How a single emerald tablet could teach stone to sing. The passage angles downward. Floor slick with mica that sparks beneath your torch like drowned starlight. Each step lowers the temperature until breath ghosts before your face. Marine chill, not desert cool. Walls shift from sandstone to a darker, almost glassy rock veined with green. You tap it. The knock rings clear, crystalline. This is no quarry stone. It feels grown, not carved. Then the corridor widens into a circular vault. At its heart floats a slab of translucent emerald, suspended by nothing you can see. It rotates once every slow heartbeat, casting sheets of green light across the walls. On those walls, symbols that flex and ripple as the gem turns, hieroglyphs one moment, spirals the next, as though the script itself is caught between languages. The feather in your hand vibrates in sympathy. Each flutter sends ripples through the emerald slab, and fragments of text flare, then vanish, as if the tablet is testing which tongue you'll understand. Live memory strikes. You're waist-deep in phosphorescent water, a massive pane of green crystal before you, its surface alive with images. Stars birthing, cities rising, towers crumbling into foam. A figure stands beside you, ibis-headed yet robed like a navigator. He lifts a stylus of pure light, touches the slab, and the chaos resolves into 7 perfect rings. He nods toward you. Choose the ring and chart the course. You blink back to the vault. The slab slows as if awaiting your choice. The emerald surface ripples under your touch. Symbols hover, waiting for a single truth to unlock them. In the hush, one line rises, clear, inevitable. Where the feather meets the wave, time is born. Softly, you raise the feather and let its tip graze the emerald surface. A tone sings through the chamber. Clear, resonant. Neither high nor low but everywhere. Symbols freeze into clarity. Concentric circles linked by radiant channels, part map, part equation. Beneath, a single ibis glyph locks into place. Signature of Thoth. Understanding drifts in like tidewater. This tablet is not inscription but interface. Thoth didn't chisel wisdom into stone. He tuned matter to remember frequency. Atlantis fell, but its algorithm survived, embedded here, ready to reboot whenever a matching resonance found it. The slab brightens, projecting a beam onto the far wall. There a doorway materializes, traced in green fire. The beam cuts through rock as easily as dawn through mist. Beyond that aperture glints water. Yes, actual water, lapping silently against basalt steps. The surf pulse you've heard is real, hidden beneath desert strata all along. If a subterranean sea guards the next layer of truth, crossing it means surrendering every dryland certainty you own. Yet the feather thrums with eagerness, and the emerald slab dims. Task complete. The path is open, hesitation will close it. Torchlight dances on your knuckles as you tuck the glowing feather behind your ear. Salt scent rides the chill air, familiar from dreams you never confessed. One step and basalt accepts your weight. The water is impossibly clear, reflecting not torchlight but constellations that shouldn't be visible underground. Knee-deep you pause. Stars ripple around your legs. Somewhere in the dark, oars dip once, twice. An unseen craft answering an ancient summons. You breathe brine and starlight together. Ahead lies a voyage beneath desert stone, toward a truth that could upend the map of human origin. The unseen oarsman taps the prow. Time to board. Behind, the emerald doorway flickers, warning. Forward waits the tide that remembers towers and rings and a scribe who crossed worlds. You choose forward. Water closes, cool silk, around your calves. The boat slides from shadow, and as you settle into its cedar belly, the oars lift, catching a current that tastes of moonlight and forgotten coasts. The vault recedes. The channel glows ahead. The boat glides through a corridor of water so clear it feels like moving glass. Torchlight clips the surface, vanishing into unfathomable depth below. Yet not a ripple touches the cedar hull. Above, stone arches span the channel, each arch engraved with shifting symbols that glow, dim, then disappear as you pass, like lanterns acknowledging your presence. The oarsman remains unseen, only rhythmic dips of polished wood, 2 on the left, 1 on the right, steering with the certainty of someone who has rowed this route for ages. The pull of the feather behind your ear synchronizes with the strokes, tug-tug pause, matching the cadence that once pulsed through the hidden hall. Minutes or centuries flow past before the channel broadens into a vast grotto. Its ceiling is glazed crystal, translucent enough to show a velvet sky scattered with constellations you cannot name. Each star pulses faint aquamarine, and their reflections litter the water like shards of living jade. In the cavern's center rises a stone library, tiered ledges spiraling upward, every ledge lined with tablets of emerald, obsidian, gold-veined quartz. Water laps gently at its base, as if guarding content that cannot bear desert air. The boat noses against a shallow step. You disembark, boots finding grip on stone polished by tides older than Nile floods. The oars recede without splash or farewell, leaving you alone with the silent archives. You climb. Tablet faces tilt toward unseen starlight, activating scripts that swim across their surfaces the moment you near, lines becoming waves, waves folding into pictographs, then into something like circuitry. One slab halts your breath. It bears the Atlantean ripple rings flanked by unmistakable ibis feathers. Underneath, 7 small depressions glimmer, indentations the size of a stylus tip. Your fingers itch with recognition. Memory floods, stronger than before. You stand on a balcony hewn from living crystal, watching ocean storms heave phosphorescent tides against citadel walls. Archscribes gather around a circular table. Each lays a feather of silver blue onto a corresponding groove in the tabletop. When the 7th feather meets its slot, the storm above calms, clouds patterning into perfectly spaced rings, thunder rewiring into harmonious bass. Knowledge wasn't written, it was resonated, calibrated into matter. A current of salt-charged air sweeps the cavern, tugging you back. The depression nearest your hand hums softly, sensing the feather you carry. You hesitate, offer the feather's luminous shaft to the groove. The stone accepts with a snap of light. All other slabs ignite in echoing sequence, ring by ring, tier by tier, until the library spirals like a helix of emerald fire. Words surface across every tablet, coalescing into one legible stream that circles the chamber walls like an underground aurora. You strain to read signs shift faster than thought, then settle into a single silent line that hangs in front of you, glowing. The emerald light around you softens, breath holding the world still. You voice the line in a whisper that sounds older than your throat. Read water the way stone remembers. Silence answers, then sheets of text peel from the tablets and drift in midair, pages without paper. Images bloom. Atlantean towers mapping energy to weather. Thoth guiding a flotilla across pre-dawn oceans. the first dynastic scribes tracing unfamiliar rings into freshly quarried limestone, unsure why their chisel strokes felt remembered rather than invented. The weight of its sinks, Egypt's hieroglyphs were never mere pictures. They were frequency diagrams, each glyph a tuning curve drawn to stabilize imported resonance. Thoth, migrant architect, taught the desert to hum a drowned song. Abruptly, one vision eclipses all others. A crystal vortex collapsing, water rushing in, towers coughing columns of green fire. Amid chaos, Thoth lifts a single tablet and steps into a funnel of light. The library's walls echo with a chord so piercing you feel bone vibrate. The vortex snaps shut, leaving nothing but spiraling rings on restless surf. The images wink out like embers. Tablets dim. Only the feather groove glows, empty again. The feather returned to you, its energy spent. A hush settles, vast yet immediate, like the library is waiting for your verdict. Will this knowledge reignite or drown again? Distant rumble answers. Rock shifting, perhaps the corridor ceiling, or perhaps tides beneath desert strata beginning to rise. Somewhere beyond the grotto, a faint shaft of sunlight pierces a crack far overhead, warning that dawn above the sand will soon paint the Valley of Kings, that expeditions will awake, that secrecy is thinning. You pocket the feather's hollow quill. Its glow flickers once more, aligning with your pulse. One staircase spirals deeper into black water where a faint green halo promises further song. Another stair coils upward toward a slit in the grotto roof, toward daylight, proof, and the fragile politics of surface truths. Water murmurs down. Sunlight glints up. The library waits, unread. The desert waits, unready. And time, the newborn tide between feather and wave, leans to hear your next heartbeat. You choose downward. Stone steps dissolve into water that climbs your shins, your waist, your chest. But the liquid is warm, coaxing, buoyant, more like illuminated mist than brine. Each breath tastes of copper and windless sky, yet your lungs accept it without protest, as though the body remembers an era when air and water were cousins. A glow flares ahead, a submerged rotunda whose dome is hammered from seamless electrum. At its apex, a single aperture funnels starlight, no, not stars, but pinpoints revolving like clock gears. The vista is upside down. Constellations sketched beneath your feet, rippling, while an ocean of darkness arches above. You're walking in the negative of night. The floor plate is a giant disk of crystal feathered with turquoise veins, exactly the hue of your ibis plume. As you step onto it, rings of light ripple outward. The crystal stirs, humming the cadence you know by heart. 223. From the dome's rim, jets of water arc inward, striking the disk in 7 equidistant points. Every jet plays a tone. Together they form a chord that seems to pry open the chest. Symbols spiral up through the disk, weaving fluid and light into phrases your mind translates without effort. They tell of Kephiur, the feather and the wave, a resonator craft grown in Atlantis to ferry wisdom by harmonic surf. Only those carrying a living quill, slender capacitor of memory, can pilot it. Thoth, master navigator, shepherded the last fleet moments before islands tore themselves apart under seismic grief. Each feather tuned a craft to a destination encoded in its vein. Egypt, Yucatan, Indus, seeding the world with mnemonic stone. Live memory hits like surf against cliff. You sit within a conch-shaped cabin, walls pulsing aquamarine. Thoth adjusts crystalline levers. Outside, a wave rises 20 stories yet holds shape, as if cradled by invisible hands. The craft tips into its hollow. Feather meets wave. Time bends. Minutes ooze into hours into none. When hull kisses desert sand, the wave releases into wind and becomes a storm of glowing dust that buries the craft, hiding it until resonance calls it awake again. You gasp. Back in the rotunda, feather blazing cobalt at your ear. Phrase code blooms, steady as heart drum. Read water the way stone remembers. At the words, the 7 jets fuse into a single spiral column that twists skyward, punching through the electrum dome. Water vanishes. A vortex of light hovers in its place, revolving slower than breath. Inside, faint silhouettes. A conch-shaped hull, rows of empty seats, a helm built of emerald spokes. The column lowers until the craft rests on the crystal disk, water dripping from smooth shell. A hatch unfurls like petals, inviting. The plume behind your ear flares white, as if overjoyed to be home. Step forward and you become the first passenger in 12,000 years. Cushioned benches mold to your frame. At the helm, 7 shallow insets wait, the grooves for feathers lost or scattered across continents. Only one is filled. Your plume, which lifts from your ear and slots itself without your hand's consent. Tone rises, pure, the key of remembered surf. The craft shivers, plasma veins ignite along its hull. Yet something is incomplete. 6 grooves remain hollow. The cord wobbles, searching for harmony. Images ripple on the vault outside. Akashic silhouettes of 6 souls across the globe who unknowingly carry residual quills. A Tibetan hermit, a Brazilian child drawing spirals in sand, a coder in Nairobi scribbling waveforms, others blurred by distance and time. The craft longs for quorum. With a full circle of feathers, it could open corridors no historian imagines. But a single quill can still unlock one more layer. The flight of memory back through the moment of collapse. Controls awaken. Spokes glow, awaiting your palm. Touch them and you may witness Atlantis's final heartbeat. Understand why Thoth fled, and learn how to complete the circle in your century. Or retreat now, seal the chamber, and let another era chase answers. Above, desert dawn seeps through rock, casting faint amber into black water far behind. Time on the surface resumes its crawl. Here, inside the conch, time quivers, about to reverse or accelerate depending on your pulse. Your hand hovers over the helm. The craft sings softly. 223, 223. 1 feather, 1 voyager, 1 chance. Will you steer into the collapse and harvest its code, or surface with half the story and a single glowing quill? The helm warms, waiting for your choice. Your palm settles on the emerald spokes. A concentric shiver rolls through the conch hull, as if your heartbeat has become the vessel's metronome. Outside the rotunda, time retracts. Water rises back into jets, droplets restitching midair, stone veins shedding centuries of dust. A low hum climbs into a resonant roar that you feel more in bone than ear. The crystal disk beneath you flares. Rings of light spin counter-rotation, unscrewing the present. The conch tilts, nose down, sinking not into water but into a tunnel of refracted memory. A corridor where moments glide like fishes of molten glass. You glimpse fleets of identical craft launching from Atlantean bays, sea spray frozen mid-arc, towers throbbing with heliotropic energy, scholars weaving light into tide to calm approaching storms. The tunnel narrows. You are pulled toward one fixed point, the heartbeat of calamity. Live memory detonates. You stand on a sky bridge between crystal spires. Beneath, concentric canals churn a violent teal. Above, clouds bruise purple with ionist charge. Sirens, 7 notes descending, signal structural breach. Across the plaza, Thoth sprints, feathers flaring, emerald tablet clutched to chest. He meets your eyes, ageless, urgent. Rings must seed new banks, he says, pressing the tablet against your sternum. Light sinks through skin, branding ribs with luminous glyphs. Remember, the crack is the doorway. Flee through the fracture, or drown inside the form. The bridge convulses. Crystal screams. Ocean heaves upward like a living wall. Thoth hurls himself onto a waiting KFUR. 7 feathers align. Hull fires turquoise. As the wave collapses, crafts launch through spiral gates carved of compressed thunder. You leap after, only to feel the sky rip open. Gravity flips, water becomes shards of green fire, and the tunnel spits you back into the conch. Hull stabilizes. Projection windows bloom around you, showing Atlantean ruins suspended in infinite dusk. Towers toppling in slow motion, waves frozen halfway through collapse, as though catastrophe has been paused for your inspection. Phrase code materializes across the viewport, burning in the language of light. The crack is the doorway. Speak it, and the paused cataclysm advances 1 heartbeat. Towers fissure. Water surges again. But you also notice something hidden. Threads of emerald energy spiraling outward from each collapsing ring, tunneling beneath the ocean floor toward distant meridians, toward Egypt, toward Yucatan, toward every later cradle of mythic knowledge. Atlantis did not simply die. It broadcast itself, encoded coordinates, frequencies, feathers, so the lineage could reboot wherever receptive minds emerged. The conch trembles. 6 empty grooves flare, projecting phantom quills that point away from Egypt, mapping the positions of their living carriers in real time. Your single feather yearns to reunite, to complete the 7-fold helm and unlock the full chronicle. Water suddenly pounds the rotunda ceiling far above. The surface desert must be quaking. Archaeologists, satellites, governments may feel the tremor soon. If this craft breaches now, secret becomes spectacle. The helm offers 2 vectors: ascent, Surge back to the grotto, seal the vault, surface with partial truth and a mission to gather the remaining feathers across continents. Descent. Plunge deeper into the fracture of time, follow Thoth's escape route, witness the full algorithm of exile, risking permanent severance from the present era. Helm light split, emerald arrow up, aquamarine arrow down. The vessel vibrates impatiently. Either course will engage in 10 breaths. 9, 8. The feather's glow pulses faster, synchronizing with your pulse. You inhale salt chill, exhale desert heat. 7, 6. The craft tilts, eager. Somewhere overhead, rock groans like a mountainside turning in sleep. 5. Your choice will steer not just narrative, but the living geometry of knowledge waiting to awaken in 6 other hearts around the world. For 3. Time condenses into a single, ringing moment. Your next heartbeat is the lever. 2, 1. Your heart strikes the helm like a gavel. You choose ascent. The emerald arrow floods the cabin with vertical light. Instantly the conch contracts, hull petals closing until you're sealed inside a seed of humming crystal. Gravity inverts. Water funnels up around you, a liquid elevator racing toward the grotto roof. Symbols streak past, reversing their collapse, rewinding destruction into geometry. With a final surge, the vessel breaches the library pool in a fountain of turquoise spray. It hovers, shedding droplets that hiss to steam upon the stone ledges. The crystal disk dims, satisfied. The 7 jets fall silent. Hatch unlatches. Warm desert air spills in. First light of dawn filtering through fault lines overhead. In your fist the feather quill reignites, tip pointing due east, tugging with quiet certainty toward the Nile's horizon. And beyond it, across oceans, to 6 unseen bearers. You step onto the ledge. Tablets around you have gone dark, returning to patient slumber. But one slab, smaller than the rest, remains aglow. Upon its face a map resolves, world latitudes marked by concentric rings, each location pulsing the unique cadence 223. A gift from the craft, a compass of resonance. The ground trembles, a subtle warning that the vault's borrowed equilibrium cannot endure. You commit the coordinates to memory, then run a fingertip across the slab. Its glow transfers into your skin, digital ink woven of light. High above, a shaft of sun lances through a new fissure, illuminating your path upward. A spiral stair newly revealed in crumbling stone. Every heartbeat counts. Scholars will descend by midday, and what they find must appear as empty myth, not awakened mechanism. You climb. Feather points forward, heartbeat steady. Each step lighter than the last, as if the craft's frequency still lifts your bones. At the final landing, a fractured ceiling opens to the Valley of Kings bathed in sunrise. Sandstorms brew on the far horizon, winds erasing every track that led you here. You emerge, clutching feather and living map. Behind, dust avalanches seal the access shaft. Ahead, a world unaware that 7 quills are stirring, resonating across continents. Your first destination pulses in your mind's eye. Andes ridgeline haloed by snow and thunder, home of a guardian who paints spiral glyphs on condor feathers. Your second, a reclusive monk tracing rings in yak butter lamps beneath Himalayan stars. You inhale dry dawn, exhale brine memory. The quest is clear. Gather the circle, align the helm, unlock the full Atlantean algorithm. And with it, the power to retune a civilization teetering on its own fracture. The feather vibrates faster, urging travel. Footprints fill with wind behind you, sealing secrets in shifting dunes. Ahead, the sky widens like an unrolled scroll, lines of possibility waiting for ink. Step into the light. The journey to the second feather has already begun. The airport loudspeaker drones a language you barely recognize. Yet the feather in your pocket trembles as if every syllable were its own name. Outside the cabin window, cloud columns bruise the dawn. Beneath them the Andes rise, vast vertebrae of the planet, white-capped, breathing storms. Hours later, a rattling bus leaves the last asphalt behind. Dirt serpentine climbs toward a high-altitude village where roofs are thatched with ichu grass and every wall is ochre with age. Children chase ragball kites that mimic condors. Your breath thins, pulse drums in temples, but the feather beats faster. A tuning fork closing on source. An elder meets you at a doorway painted cobalt. No words. He sees the plumes glow through fabric and simply nods, leading you behind the adobe rows, up a goat trail littered with shards of quartz that wink in sun like scattered stardust. At 4,000 meters a plateau unfurls, bare except for a colossal spiral carved shallow in basalt, 30 meters wide, 5 perfect turns. At its center stands a solitary wooden staff topped with a second quill. Dusky black with white eye spots, longest pinion of a king condor. It hums the identical 2-2-3 cadence, yet pitched deeper, earth-throated. Your own plume leaps from your pocket, streaking across the spiral to kiss the condor feather tip to tip. Both ignite, weaving turquoise and obsidian light that corkscrews skyward. Stone beneath your feet warms. Spiral grooves pulse like heartbeat lines on seismic paper. The elder motions you to stand opposite him, each of you anchoring a cardinal point. He lifts weather-creased palms. The sky answers. 3 giant condors circle, wings slicing thin air with signatures older than ink. Live memory floods. You fly above a city of glass monoliths, guiding a swarm of crystal vessels toward mountainous headlands. Your craft releases feathers that seed ridgelines with resonance pylons. Below, terraces bloom corn the color of amethyst under an impossible aurora. A voice, Thoth's, echoes, ring south, balance north. Mountains will remember what oceans forget. Vision shatters into wind. Back on the plateau, the spiral begins to rotate, dust lifting in centrifugal rings. The elder chants in Quechua tones that match the feather hum. Without thinking you join, vowel by vowel, your throat finds the ancient scale. 2 frequencies merge and the spiral lifts, a disk of glowing dust, revealing a cavity beneath. Within lies an obsidian tablet, palm-sized, edges inlaid with flecks of jade. Its surface bears both Atlantean rings and Andean Chicana cross, fused into single geometry. As you take it, glyphs rearrange into instructions. Coordinate nodes across the Pacific, vector lines converging somewhere under storm-ridden ocean, the next feather's beacon. You look up. The elder already backs away, nodding farewell, duty complete. Condors will once more then vanish into cloud. The plateau still hums, but slower 2-1-2, signaling the spiral's rest state. In your hand, first plume and condor sibling intertwine, tips soldering into one feather half dark, half luminous. The hybrid quill rests against the obsidian tablet. Both pulse toward the western horizon. You descend as storm fronts gather, smelling brine on wind even at this altitude. Halfway down the goat trail, your phone flickers alive, though signal here is myth. Only one notification. Coordinates pulsing in emerald font, tagged Feather 3, Moana Trench. Below, bus engines cough to life, ready to snake you toward a coastal airstrip. Behind, thunder rolls like drums of a waking titan. Ahead, the Pacific glimmers steel blue, vast, hungry for secrets. You pocket tablet and twin plume. Air stings with ozone and promise. Next stop, the trench where tectonic plates grind ancient hymns. The place where water's memory is deepest and the third feather waits to rise. Night descends on the Condor Plateau. The elder places a thumb-sized shard of obsidian in your hand. Its glassy face ignites, spinning into a 12-pointed star. Every ray locks to a latitude. Lines snap between the tips, collapsing into a glowing wireframe pyramid. The hybrid feather at your chest trembles. Air above the spiral swirls into a turquoise hologram of that same pyramid, suspended on nothing but resonance. Code whisper rises, soft and absolute. Your shadow is your constellation. Say it, and the hologram drops like a stamp onto the plateau floor. A single light beam spears east, pinning one coordinate. Beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, a gust sweeps the summit, snuffing the dust fire that rings the spiral. The elder steps back, ceremony complete. Above, 3 real condors glide into alignment with Orion's belt, as if sky and earth just signed the same diagram. You pocket the shard. It continues to pulse. A portable compass keyed to that hidden chamber under the king's stone boat. The feather hum aligns with it, vibrating a promise of entrance. First light grazed the Andes. A cargo drone buzzes far below, and you know every minute now is margin. Egypt calls, and the map in your palm already tastes of desert heat and ancient limestone. You descend the switchbacks as thunderheads roll over the ridge, burying the plateau, and its spiral, under a veil of hail and cloud. No one will find the markings by morning. At the valley road, a jeep engine growls to life. Your flight path is set. Cusco to Lima, Lima to Cairo, Cairo to the Giza Plateau by moonlight. The shard flickers once more, overlaying your retina with a brief vision. A tunnel of quartz beneath millions of tons of stone, glyphs crawling the walls like liquid mirrors. That tunnel waits. So does the next feather. And the line between star and shadow has never felt thinner. Midnight. The Giza Plateau lies mute under a chalk-white moon. Tour lights have died. The desert breathes like a sleeping animal. A single service hatch in the pyramid's bedrock clicks open. Your counterfeit badge worked, guards none the wiser. Inside, limestone corridors swallow every sound. You glide past empty ventilation shafts until the shard in your pocket heats like a coal. At a blind wall, the obsidian flares. Mortar dust sifts away, revealing a hairline seam. Touchstone seam dilates, stone folding like paper. A quartz passage drops steeply. Each step triggers faint phosphorescence, glyphs surfacing, then vanishing. 12 turns down. The tunnel spits you into a chamber no survey ever logged. Hexagonal, walls paneled with dark mica. The hybrid feather glows cobalt. Wall glyphs answer, lighting one by one until the whole room blazes like a hall of mirrors. But these mirrors reflect not your face. They reflect inside you. Where your heart should echo in glass, you see running script, red gold, as if blood itself has learned to write. The characters rearrange into one line only you can read. Blood is the pictograph of light. Speak it and the mica liquefies. Symbols pour off the walls, flow across the floor, spiral up your legs, cool, tingling like carbonated fire, then dive beneath skin, seeding themselves along arteries. Your pulse becomes a scrolling codex. Vision hits. You sprint through a collapsing Atlantean hall, clutching a seed crystal brighter than sunrise. Towers fall, yet the seed stays intact, whispering it can only germinate in earth that remembers sky. Back in the chamber, the liquid glyphs recede, leaving walls blank. Only a single seam remains, an iris of stone opening downward. A breath of subterranean air floats up, damp, laced with petrichor. The shard and feather now beat in synchrony, pulling you toward that iris. Beneath waits the seed vault Thoth buried before flood and sand. An object capable of retuning any landscape to the lost harmonic, but also capable of triggering the same tectonic fury that sank Atlantis. A distant rumble rolls through the pyramid core, tourist power generators restarting. Guards will patrol again within the hour. Above, cameras blink awake. Below, the iris yawns wider, as if time itself invites you to pluck the seed or leave it sleeping. You exhale dust and prophecy. One downward step will ground Atlantean memory in your bloodstream forever. One retreat will seal the chamber for who knows how many millennia. Your heartbeat scripts its own ultimatum on the inside of your ribs. The iris waits. Stone begins to close, slow but certain, counting out your courage. You drop through the iris seconds before it seals. A shaft of cool darkness ends in a vault the size of a chapel, lit only by trembling emerald light at its core. There, nested in basalt petals, hovers a crystal seed no bigger than a heart. Inside it, 7 faint rings turning in opposite directions. Approach and memories roar. Atlantean breakers smashing towers, Thoth cupping this same seed, whispering, a fracture is merely new ground. The hybrid feather leaves your grasp, fuses to the crystal like a key sliding home. Rings brighten, spin faster. The vault vibrates. Hairline cracks streak outward, etching the floor with a map of global fault lines. Code whisper cuts through the tremor, urgent yet calm. The crack is the doorway. Say it, and the seed splits, no shatter, just perfect halves blooming open. At the center, a lattice of photon-thin filaments forms a pulsating sphere. Data bursts across your mind. Algorithms to raise land, settle storms, bend magma. Techniques that, abused, once tore a continent in two. The vault quakes harder. Above, stone blocks groan. Desert sand funnels through fresh seams. The seed offers 2 paths in flickering glyphs. Seal, return the halves. Let the vault sleep, preventing misuse but slowing the reharmonization of Earth. Awaken. Absorb the lattice. Your body becomes a living relay, yet the stress may crack tectonic memory loose again. A chunk of ceiling crashes, spraying sparks. Sirens echo faintly higher in the pyramid, security systems finally sensing trespass. Dust spirals around the seed like miniature galaxies, each orbit ticking off dwindling seconds. You weigh catastrophe against renaissance in the span of a single breath. Hand reaches, eyes lock on the living lattice, and you choose awaken. Light erupts, threads lancing into every nerve. Pain blossoms, then flips into clarity. You feel fault lines like tense muscles, jet streams like violin strings. The vault hushes. The seed halves dissolve into your skin, feather included, leaving only a faint sigil over your sternum. 7 rings, 1 heartbeat. Sealing stones stabilize, as though Earth sensed the new conductor and paused its crumble. Footsteps echo above. Guards are cutting through the earlier seam. You slip into an escape fissure freshly revealed by the quake. Earth itself guiding you out. Outside, pre-dawn winds whip sand against limestone. The horizon throbs with distant thunderstorms no satellite predicted. You sense each storm's chord. Know you could calm it with a thought or sharpen it. But 6 feathers remain unfused. 6 human resonators unaware of what hums in their bones. Desert sky blushes with first light. In that rose-gold air, you feel a tug westward, toward storm-thick Atlantic waters. The next carrier is on a moving vessel, ring pulse faint but calling. You turn, sigil burning beneath thin fabric, mind echoing one final directive from the seed. Find the circle. Tune the world. Atlantic dusk. A research vessel heaves on steel-gray swells near the mid-ocean ridge. You stand at the stern, hood whipped by brine, sigil burning beneath your ribs. The hybrid feather now glows inside your chest like an inverted lighthouse. Its beam sweeps the deck until it lands on a lone officer. Young, wind-ruffed, a silver quill tattooed behind his ear that he doesn't remember choosing. The moment your eyes lock, both heartbeats hit the 223 cadence. His tattoo ignites, second feather awakened. Ocean fog shears away, revealing 5 distant pulses on every horizon. The remaining bearers turning toward this rendezvous like flares answering a beacon. Live memory surges one last time. 7 feathers slotting into the helm of a crystal craft. Thoth at your side, the vessel rising above flood-racked towers to seed new lands with harmonic stone. The message then is the message now. You are not passengers of Earth. You are its tuning forks. Deck plates tremble, nothing to do with waves. Deep below, the mid-ocean ridge rumbles. Magma singing subsonic notes you now hear as clearly as gull cries. A slight flex of will smooths the pitch. Tremor eases. Power that once cracked a continent kneels for guidance. The officer stares, awed. What happens next? You reach into the spray, draw a ring of light that orbits both of you, then expands toward every horizon. An encoded summons the other feathers will feel in their marrow. Above, storm clouds coil, but a spiral of turquoise opens at their center, starlight pouring through like a newborn axis. Code whisper, shared aloud. Flame is memory in motion. Let it circle home. Around the globe, 6 pulses answer: Himalaya, Rift Valley, Pacific Trench, Siberian Steppe, Yucatan Jungle, Australian Desert. The circle completes. Your sigil blazes white. 7 heartbeats lock. In Cairo, the hidden vault you left behind flickers to life. Empty, yet alive, projecting a lattice of light around the planet. Subtle, unseen, but already retuning jet streams, tectonics, human impulses toward coherence instead of fracture. The ship's crew feel only a hush, an inexplicable calm on seas that minutes before threatened gale. You and the officer exchange a quiet nod. No hierarchy now, only custodians. Stars brighten to impossible clarity. One by one they arrange into the concentric rings of Atlantis, this time sketched across the whole night sky. A reminder carved in starlight. The origin never vanished. It merely waited for instruments willing to play its chord again. You inhale salt, exhale fire. 7 feathers, 7 humans, 1 living tablet. The work ahead is unending. Educating, guarding, harmonizing. But fear has no ground left. Earth itself hums a newborn scale beneath your feet. And somewhere, perhaps in a silent hall of quartz far under the sea, Thoth smiles. Scribe, navigator, now observer, watching his seed crack open at last. Fade out on the ocean horizon. Ring of turquoise slowly rotating against the stars.